Well, hello and welcome to Audionautic Deep Space Network, episode 90. This is the Independent Musician's Guide to Production and Promotion. This week, we're taking a look at some of the best Black Friday deals for plugins, apps, and more. We also have a breakdown from a professional web designer on the 7 best tips when making a website. So if you're bummed about all the stuff going on with Bandcamp and Spotify, it's a good time to consider having a website that you control and no one can pull the rug out from under you. So whether you're completely new at web design or feeling a bit overwhelmed at the thought, stay tuned because we've got you covered. My name is Sunwarper, and with me today are Eon Lake, Curtis, and our special guest, label mate, and web designer extraordinaire, Frequency Control Center.
Very much so. Yes, we're going to get straight into it because also it is Black Friday coming up and we have got more Black Friday deals. So we're going to hop right into it with, I'll put all the links in the Patreon group, which I'm going to share my link with now. So much to get through, so little time.
There's a lot. Yeah, we'll run through them very quickly, and then we're just going to talk about kind of which one catches each of our eyes the most and why.
Exactly.
So here we go. All right, I'm sharing it.
We're going to start right down here. Oh, there you go. There's you at the top.
Wrong buttons.
Oh, there we go.
I'm just keeping you all on your toes, all right?
It's been chaos here at this end. So yeah, we're going to start with Reason Studios. You guys have got a massive update if you're part of that massive update on Reason. Yeah, you guys are quite excited about this. Sunwarper.
Well, Reason 12 has been out for a little bit, but I finally just bought it. Of course, right before this happened, a couple months before. But that's all right. It's worth it. They have a good. If you already are a Reason user, there's a really good update price and things like that. But yeah, I believe it's 50% off of Reason, also on Reason Plus, which Frequency Control Center, I think you said you use, which is their subscription model. I think it's normally $20 a month, and then there's an annual thing or something. I forget the actual amount, but what's cool about Reason is it works in any other DAW. So you can use it as plugins. You can do multi-stereo. You could do it as a single thing. And so you can do all this stuff, because what I love about Reason is the rack. You can have, everything looks kind of like a modular setup. You can put all these different things and move it. And it works really well. So I am also a big fan of their sound, like the plugins that come stock. They're really good. But with Reason Plus, you get a bunch of other additional additional synths and things like that. FCC, what do you think? Because you use Reason. What do you think about Reason Plus, Reason 12 in general?
Yeah, it's quite nice because when they release new synths and extra plugins, you get them straight away if you've got Reason Plus, which is kind of handy. And you get access to I think it's called Reason Plus Companion, I think. But it's like a library of sound packs.
Yeah.
And so some are, it depends what kind of music you do, really. But there's a lot of hip hop and kind of electronic stuff on there, and some interesting stuff comes along. Actually, it's quite good to have a look through and grab some sounds and a bit of inspiration. So
definitely, you can always sample chop, right?
Yeah.
And then what is it, Dr. Rex or whatever, and do some chops and things like that. Yeah. Lots there. Curtis, what do we have next?
Over here, we've got 90% on Black Friday deals from Native Instruments. Stop Steve from coming into the thing here. We touched on it last week. Obviously, Native Instruments recently acquired things like Isotope, for example, and they've got a bunch of beautiful plugins in there as well. And they've currently got 50% off on all Complete 14 bundles. Now, I don't know if any of you guys ever used Complete Control or Complete Native Access at all.
No. Does Lars, though? I believe our patron Lars, who's in the chat, because I think he was the one that was like, you guys are missing something with Complete or something like that. But Lars, let us know. I don't want to speak for you if you don't use it, but I'm pretty sure you might. But let us know. But yeah, I mean, that's a good deal for it.
I do. I agree with you completely. I think, especially with these guys, personally, they've been really good for my commission work. So less of the Curtis work, but when I get something for TV or for film, or if I get a score or something like that, there's a lot of cinematic stuff in here, which if you're looking to get more into that, it's a small investment to make into your studio. I think it's really, really interesting in that regard. So yeah.
Lars says, I have the Complete Control 32 key. Does that come with any of the plugins? Or I guess it would if it's got control in the name. So, but yeah, I'm not that familiar with Native Instruments beyond Guitar Rig. So, and Isotope. But yeah, he also says, freaking love it.
Yeah, that's that is the way
control
forward.
freak, obviously.
Yeah.
Of course.
Do you have Complete, Neon Lake?
So no, I've only ever used Player for
yeah.
some of the predefined instruments they've got that are built on samples, which are really good.
Yeah. All right, what do we got next, Curtis?
We go over to our friends at Bliss.
Yes.
They've got a lot of them. We've got 43% off the alpha. Their monolit currently is going for free.
Wow.
We tested their megalit when they released that, and the precursor to that is the monolit, and it's badass. It's beautiful. That's the only way of saying that. So snap that up for free, and you got 49 half price on the megalit. Again, beautiful synth. So you've been really doing that for synthwave, haven't you, Sunwarper?
Yeah, my last song, Monolith Memories, I used it for basically every sound. That it's got a really cool routing you can do and modulations, and there's all these things. It's very complex, and the reason I'm stopping for a second is I'm going to put in the chat, and I'll put it in the description after our deep dive into the Megalit with from Bliss. It's very cool. So that's there in the chat just to show you. You can watch it after if you're interested in the Megalit or any of the other ones. But I would highly recommend checking out Bliss. They have some really awesome synths, and they also have some really cool other plugins like the Voices plugin, which we use to do. You can turn any sound. It's kind of like an auto-tune, harmonizer, all that stuff, all in one. Really fun to use. Even if you don't sing or something, like Curtis was making some crazy sounds with it. I made a synth and like chopped up my voice as a synth and put it into a sampler and transpose it. It's really fun to just experiment with. So yeah, check out what Bliss has going on, because it's
Monolith for free. I mean,
yeah. If you just want to get a taste and see what they can do, I mean, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I've never come across them before, so I'm quite intrigued to have a little play with that.
Yeah, I would check it out. And I think Monolith at least might be on iOS. I think a few of them are on iOS as well. So I've gotten some comments on my YouTube videos where they're like, yeah, I use this on the iOS one or something. So they may, I don't know if those are free or not, and I could be completely wrong, but I know I remember some comments have said things like that. So yeah.
Very good. Moving swiftly on, if you hadn't guessed, it is Black Friday, and nowhere would you ever get much more of a reminder that it's Black Friday than the big hyped up Arturia. This has been awash with conversation in the Patreon Discord this week. They've got 50% off all their flagship stuff. Beautiful, such as the Analog Lab. You've got Pigments, for example. You've got the FX collection. You've also got their V Collection 9, coming down from €600 down to $300. It's about the same these days. Yeah, it's so tempting not to get this one. So tempting. So tempting to get this one, but money in it.
Money in it. Yep, definitely.
Money in it. If anyone comes into it a bit more money in the next 13 days, they've got a lovely countdown time. Oh, you can't quite see it because of our lovely faces.
I can adjust.
There you go. But yes, it is here. It's sitting there. Really tough not to get this one. Really tough not to get this one.
I've been eyeing it every Black Friday for like 4 years. I remember talking with Survey Channel about it, and he's like, "Yeah, just get it," and I never did. I'm always like, but I gravitate more and more towards hardware, so it's like, but when I do commission stuff, I'm like, man, that would be nice to have in the DAW, but alas, I wait.
I did cave in and buy the FX collection.
Nice. Okay.
How is it?
Oh, there's some really, really good stuff in there. Yeah, it's like I mean, I've not had it for long, but I seem to gravitate towards all the stuff in there now, and other plugins have just gone out the window. The compressors and the reverbs, the delay, some of the delays are just sublime.
Does it come with tape Mellowify?
Yeah.
Oh, that thing's the best.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it is good. Yeah,
the wow and flutter on there with some drive, man, it's nice. Little on the filter. Yeah, that thing's magic. And that chorus too. The is it the Juno chorus?
Yeah,
that they have that thing.
Yeah, the Juno chorus. Yeah, and there's an MS-20.
I was just gonna say that. See, I have all the ones that they put up for free before, and that MS-20 one, the drive on there is awesome. That filter. Oh man, that's, yeah.
And there's another filter. I can't remember the name of it now, but that does some amazing things. And there's like a granular. I can't remember what it's called now, but it's like a weird granular kind of looping delay kind of thing. Get some crazy sounds out of it. Yeah. I mean, I'm literally just dipping my toe in at the moment, and that'll keep me going for years, I reckon. The stuff in there, it's amazing.
Yeah, and there's I do want to mention, because Lars says in the chat that Analog Lab is worth having for sure, and there is that Analog Lab Play. Is it the one we covered in our 5 free plugins? So we'll talk about that more in a little bit. But yeah, if you're looking to get into some of Arturia's offerings, again, we always try to find some budget-friendly ways beyond just, sales, but free ways, things like that, to kind of get a taste and see whether it's for you. And then you can check out the sales that they have quite often, all of these companies. So yeah, Analog Lab Play, I believe is what it's called.
That's the one. It's got some great presets in there.
I used it a couple days ago in the morning. I had Luca, and I was like, I need some calm music to chill him out. So I was just like on the keyboard, and I was like, this is awesome. And he fell asleep, so I knew it worked. So yeah,
there you go.
Baby approved.
It's the thing with these ones, like, obviously we go for the budget friendly ones. The one that we've got coming up in just a second, and like things like Arturia, where you pay a little bit more, but the quality is there, and sometimes you do have to just balance that budget friendly with kind of like that quality, I suppose, like with anything.
That's why you typically go budget friendly, so you can splurge on the big ones, right? Just then you can get the high quality ones. Yeah, but that just because it's budget friendly does not mean it's poor quality, as we'll see with some of the later ones. Yeah,
exactly. That leads us to a very right now it's very budget friendly. The SUPERPLATE from Sound Toys. Spoke about Sound Toys. They got a free little plate. Little plate, is that the word? That's going for free right now, but you can get the SUPERPLATE a bit more extensive, currently going for $49, €49-ish, down from 149. If you are a long time watcher of the show, you'll know especially how Eon Lake is a big fan of this. Sound Toys in general are pretty amazing for what they do. SUPERPLATE going for $50. Can't really say no to that, apart from my budget and my bank balance, but looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's kind of like a steroid version of Little Plate. Like, look at everything it's got that it offers. I mean, awesome.
The EQs is going to be super helpful. I don't actually have this, and I'm thinking, should I be upgrading Sound Toys?
Yeah, probably.
New version. And have this,
most definitely.
Because I'm often EQing reverbs because of dominant frequencies. So I mean, you could really.
Yeah, it's quite cool. I mean, just having the EQ built in that's massive. I know Chromaverb from Logic has that as well. It's got a full EQ and all that. But yeah, having EQs in the reverb is very nice for control. Yeah. What else do we have there? We got two more things before we go.
We got 2 more things. One of these, just again a little bit of the ever faithful plugin boutique. If you are strapped, or you are looking for something, you're not quite sure what you want, or you're just in the mood to buy something new and you don't quite know what you want, but Plugin Boutique has got whatever you need. They'll come to you with an aggregated form of whatever, be it EQs or be it Melodyne. Melodyne's going really cheap at the moment. Only going for
Look at Diva, 50% off Diva.
I know. It would be such a beautiful thing to have.
Would it be called PASS, plugin acquisition syndrome?
Yeah, it would be, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
This
Plug-in
page
acquisition.
is starting to incite my pass.
Exactly, I get that. Dub Station is a beautiful delay. I got that thanks to Lars. He sent me over a little package a few years ago, and that is the best delay I think I've ever used. I use it on everything. It's only
Nice.
going
And
for
the
15 € right
RC20 is
now.
also that lo-fi awesomeness.
Yeah, awesome. It's what, instant lo-fi. You do
Yeah,
anything.
instead of getting an SP, you can use that, I guess.
Exactly. Beautiful. They've even got the other stuff there from Native Instruments, Sound Toys, like they've already got there. There's the core collection as well. These EQs are getting a lot better. Maybe something worth looking into in that regard.
Yeah, and Lars, I'll get to your comment in a moment because there's a reason I'll get to it. But we do have one more thing to cover, and that is from our friends over at AudioKit Pro. They have a lot of discounts going on with their apps. Once Curtis gets it up, I can see in the green room that he's still typing. But yeah, they've got a ton. It's not on their website, but if you go to the App Store and search AudioKit Pro, you'll see a lot of the synths are marked down. What would normally be 15 is about $3 or $4. There's a SNES synth that I can never remember the name of, the Saga synth, the retro Sega Genesis sounding one. Is that up, Curtis? I can't see the
we have their main website, the one to show they have them all here,
yeah.
So they've got the audio synth one. You tell us more about this.
Yeah, they've got tons. So there's the two retro ones I was talking about, King of FM, which is free. I mean, I would recommend anybody to go grab that. There's also the King of Digital, which just came out, King of Bass. There's tons, and a lot of them are marked down. So it's well worth checking out. Like I said, just go to the App Store. We have all of the links in Discord over in the patron Discord right now, but we'll put them up after the show to the ADSN, the public chat, one of the public channels. But yeah, I would highly recommend checking. If you use your phone or your iPad for this type of stuff, it's well worth checking out. And I'll find, Lars, he says SNES synth. Yeah, they have two retro synths. The Saga synth, which we actually did a live demo of, which is based off of the sound chip in the Sega Genesis. And then they have the SNES one, which I can never remember the name of, but there's the Saga synth. But
it's the SNES
maybe it's just SNES synth. Okay, yeah. So
it's the SNES synth. The SNES
that's
synth,
why I could never remember the name because it's right there. I just had it the whole time. We didn't get to do that one, but it's very similar to the Saga synth, just using the SNES sound. So I think that one is $3 or $4 right now. It's on sale. Same with the Saga synth. I'll find when I throw it over to Curtis to talk, I'll find the link for our Saga synth deep dive so you can check that out because it's very similar to the SNES. I think you pronounce SNES for their thing, so copyright because Nintendo is pretty fierce with copyright. But yeah, okay, Curtis, I'm gonna throw it over to you while I search this.
So lastly, we have more of a PSA. Obviously, Black Friday is all about consumption. And if you're not consuming, you're a bad capitalist. But we have one of the most beautiful things that have come out of this Black Friday so far is actually free. Our people over at Valhalla DSP, they have released an update for the beautiful Valhalla Supermassive. I'm just going to share my screen here so people can see.
Never used that.
We've never talked about that before. Real quick, I am throwing in the Saga synth, our deep dive into it in the chat if you want to check that out after as well. And I'll put all these links after in the description.
Beautiful, yeah. So coming back to the Valhalla Supermassive, it is a beautiful combination of reverb and delay, completely free. And if you don't have this in your arsenal, I mean, everyone can do exactly what they want. The creative expression is anything, but you need this. It's beautiful. It's free. It's amazing. Eon Lake, tell people why it's amazing.
It's like one of those old analog delay units that just has a nice tune, a nice tone to it. It's got modulation. It does reverbs as well. It can do all sorts of different sides of reverbs and delays and so on. And it's free. You should have it, even if it means not using it and just being plain wrong the rest of your life. You should still have it.
Objectively wrong.
Be right. And use the damn thing.
I call it the instant drone machine. It's an instant drone machine. Like if you just slap it to 100 wet, you just and put on one of those long decay ones, you can just turn anything into this gorgeous icy drone. Yeah, they have a couple. Synth Cloud is one of the patches from I think the 2022 update, which we covered. That if you put that to 100, like you just have a drone. You don't need Paul Stretch. All you need is Valhalla.
All you need is Valhalla.
It's like a little bit of magic sauce on things.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't-
Or you can put it low and like have it sidechain to the drum to get like little stuff. But speaking of Paul Stretch, there is, I didn't have this listed, but it just reminded me, Paul X Stretch, which is on iOS and all Windows, Mac, all that. It's a free Paul Stretch for, you can put it in a DAW or you can use it as a standalone. I've done tons of Paul stretching of like SP songs and stuff to make ambient. So that's another free one I would check out if you don't want to spend money on Black Friday, but want to get a couple cool things. Paul X Stretch, all one word, iOS, and works in the DAW plugin, VST, all that.
Very much so. Now, as we said, the Patreon has been the Patreon chat has been alive this week on the Audionautic Discord.
I just had to share because Eon like was so harsh. He's getting back at the chat for being so mean to him last week, I think.
Just Lars not have Valhalla or something.
Well, he earlier said, did you guys hear they updated Supermassive? So he's at least aware it exists. So that's even worse if he doesn't use it because he knows it exists and refuses.
You get there.
Yeah.
You've disappointed Eon Lake if that's the case, Lars. But I have a feeling he uses it. I hope he uses it.
Of course he does.
For his sake. For his sake, I hope he does.
The thing about Valhalla Supermassive is even if you had it on your master chain at 0% wetness, that would still be better than not having Valhalla Supermassive at all in your arsenal.
Yeah.
So yeah, as I was saying, the patron chat in specifics has been quite alive this week, as everyone has gear acquisition syndrome and
No,
did we say
pass.
Pass.
But
Pass.
Plass
Sorry,
might be better. I don't know.
I don't know. We'll throw it out to the chat. We'll see what they say. Plass.
Chat,
pass.
you decide. Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as
Side
it's not
with me, though.
unit acquisition syndrome.
We'll give that one. But yeah,
so I think Lars doesn't use Valhalla Supermassive.
Wow.
You have disappointed at least 3 people. I don't want to speak for Paul, but FCC, but I know the 3 of us are sad now. We're like
what's the point?
our
I'm just
heads.
gonna
I just don't understand. I can't comprehend.
we should just stop this now. I mean, we didn't even get to 100 episodes. It's just not worth it anymore.
If we haven't convinced Lars to use Supermassive in the last 90 episodes, we've failed. We've failed as musicians and audio enthusiasts, I suppose.
Yeah,
very much so.
Let me
Thanks for joining
ask
us for
Lars.
final broadcast.
Lars, have you ever used it? We won't judge you if you say no. I mean, they will. I won't judge you. They will. but if you've never used it, I would say just try it. If you have used it and it's not your thing, that's crazy. But I'll respect that.
I think we need to hear a track from Lars using Supermassive.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Yeah.
Live stream. That's what we want.
All right, let's talk what our patrons have thrown, because Lars has actually thrown a few things at us for for deals as well. But we'll go with Thomas first. So I didn't see that there was a sale for this, but Thomas was saying that this was. Let me find what he wrote actually. Oh, I might have deleted it. I'll get to the Discord. Here we go. He said, "Man, there's a lot of chat. Hold on, I gotta find it."
Something about it being one of the best ones.
Yeah. Thank you, Eon Lake. He said, if you guys are looking for the best limiter, in his opinion, then grab the Smart Limit. I've compared it with both the Sonox limiter and Fab Filter limiter, and I prefer it over those. Very transparent and easy to use. I didn't see a sale, but there is a trial period that you can do, so that's something to check out. Looks like they've got a lot of different things. Smart DS, Smart EQ. I've never heard of this plugin company, but it looks very cool.
They do look like they have a good UI. And yeah, why the hell not? That's what I say. especially if you're into limiting. And coming back to our favorite person of the evening, Lars, who we love very much and can do nothing wrong. Thank you ever so much for your contribution to this week's show. Glitch Machines have got a sale on back on Plugin Boutique. Again, Lars lovingly sent across Glitch Machines to me a couple of years ago. And they're insane. I think it's the only way of describing them. They just mangle sound, and they just turn samples, and they turn your VSTs. You've got two types. You can either put samples into there, or you can put them behind normal in quote unquote VSTs, and they just destroy sound in such a beautiful way, and they really create really different sounds and textures and things for sound design, which just are amazing. And they're so cheap. Look at that. You've got the whole bundle for €30, but then the sample packs going for €6. The Glitch Machines plugins themselves going for €5. Dope. No reason not to get them. Really cool.
Yeah, definitely. If I had even $5, I would be getting one of those, or $30, I would be getting one of those.
I can find the DLL and Pally on the favor.
There you go.
They are great. They're really good. I'll see if I can find them in my hard drive. I go from there. So yeah.
Before we move on though to FCC and web design, couple bits from Lars in the chat. Game on, Lars. He says, when you guys make it to 100 episodes, I will make a track with Supermassive. You have 10 weeks. You have 10 weeks.
Yeah,
it's on. If you want, we'll share it in the episode for 100 episodes to show that we actually convinced someone to use Supermassive by 100 episodes. We'll have made it as a show. He does say though that I used the very first version years ago, back in the 32-bit architecture era. You gotta you gotta try it now, man. And then back on the I was worried, man. I was worried. Back on the Glitch Machines that he mentioned, he says great for some creative destruction.
Yeah,
I was gonna say constructive destruction, but that wouldn't make sense.
That's a great way of putting it. Creative destruction. It's beautiful.
I think that might be my early morning purchase tomorrow.
There we go.
Yeah. Quite good for destructive destruction as well.
Yeah, very much so.
Is there a difference?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I like the succinct answers from me on, like, you know.
Can I describe it? No.
Nope. I didn't think so. I thought it'd be like, put him on the spot, see what he does. It's gonna be a quick answer, I reckon.
Yeah. I have also screenshotted where it says that Lars will make a track with Supermassive once we get to 100 episodes. So
put it on the ADSN channel right now. Put it on the ADSN channel. Make it. Internet is forever. Make it. Make it so.
We have proof.
Yeah.
My lawyer will be in touch.
All right. Well, should we move over? Unless Eon Lake or FCC, do you have anything you want to add to the plugins? Either one that's caught your eye, or one of these that you know and love.
Well, if like me, you've got some disposable income, which I definitely don't have at the moment. Some of these plugins are a good way of getting some money off, you know, the full suite of plugins next year or something like that. So
that's true. Soundtoys especially. Yeah. FCC, what about you?
I was just going to say, I'm trying so hard to ignore the 10 emails a day that I'm getting at the moment.
See, I had to open them and put them in this docket. So that was brutal. I was like, oh,
no chance.
Just look at the Digitac. Just look at the Digitac. Like, eyes on the, just bought that. Just, I don't need Pass, whatever we're calling it.
You're a father now. You can't afford to have Class.
No.
That's fair. There we go. Interesting to see though. So yeah, let us know in the chat watching back if you happen to be listening or watching this on streamers as they go on online on Saturday. You are growing over there, especially on Spotify. So hi, nice to see you. Let us know what Black Friday deals have scoped you out. What have you been doing? And what have you been making as a result of it? We'd love to know what you've been doing.
Yeah. It's very interesting to hear what everybody does with all of this. And also, did we miss any plugins? Because this will be up for a day or two and before Black Friday, because we're Wednesday when we go live. But if you're watching this on YouTube, let us know if we missed something that you think is worth mentioning. And we'll add it to the description. We'll put it in the Discord. And if you want to head to the Discord, the link is in the description.
Very much so. So before we head to FCC, because FCC has got a big segment ahead of us, we just wanted to say thanks to our patrons. Thank you ever so much for supporting us on this show and letting us do and talk bollocks like this on a Wednesday or my evening. And just we love it. Thank you ever so much. It's the growth and the continued support allows Sunwarper and myself to explore new things, try new things. We had just done our yearly plan for 2024 and we got a big year ahead of us and we're looking forward to it. And we couldn't do it, sorry, without your support. So thank you ever so much. If you like the show and you're not supporting us, it's absolutely fine. We love seeing where you're at. We love the fact that you're enjoying the show. If you wanted to support us any further, head over to our Patreon, become an Audionaut, which is kind of a dope name, you know. Screw Sir and Baron and Baroness, become an Audionaut for $2.
Baroness is a great band, though.
Fair, I'll give you that one. I'm trying to get the people to go Audionauts. You got
Sorry, you just
Audionaut.
mentioned a good band, so I gotta, you know.
For $5, you can come on. For $5, there's so much more. There are behind-the-scenes footage. There's extra footage. There is the ability to come on to the show on the live stream every Wednesday and come and be a part of the show itself. As you go up, there are free sample packs. There's merch, all that stuff. And as ever, your unwavering support, which allows us to do more with this. So yes. Have a gander if you fancy it.
Definitely, yeah. And with that, you also get in on the Discord channels that are exclusive to patrons. We have a voice hangout that we do. We also have just the main Discord channel where we talk all the crazy things going on with Bandcamp, Spotify, all the gear that's going on. It's a lot of fun. We can talk about all these kind of things. So if you want to check it out, head there. I think for the $2, you can do a 7-day free trial if you want to see what the Discord's like and all that stuff. And Lars is I did see that. I didn't get to add it to the docket, but he mentioned in the Discord the Sugar Bites sale. I didn't get to look at it. So Lars, if you want to add some context to what they're doing, just post it in the chat because we got to move on to FCC. But yeah, so I think with that, we'll move over to our segment on web design because crazy things have been happening. Spotify just confirmed that they're going to steal from artists that have less than 1,000 streams on a song per month. Or per year, I'm sorry. Lots of stuff there. There's a lot to unpack in that, and we'll talk about that next week. But basically, that's the gist of it, that there's going to be this 1,000 threshold. So that's a whole new thing. There's also Bandcamp got acquired by Songtradr, and we did a whole deep dive into their history, what they're like, all that. A lot of uncertainty going on there. And then you have Instagram algorithms just tanking. The reach has gone down. There's studies showing Reels reach has gone down drastically, and carousel and post reaches haven't gone up to meet that. It's all just down compared to it. So with that in mind, it's a great time to think about having a website. And so we want to talk with FCC about that because he is a web designer. So FCC, do you mind just mentioning briefly how you got started with web design and all that stuff, and then we'll go into your tips about it?
Yeah, sure. Well, God, it was a long time ago. I've been web designing probably close on 20 years now. And before that, I was a designer for print. I used to design boxes and covers and things for computer games, PlayStation games, that kind of thing.
Nice.
But I got involved with the web really early on. Actually, I did a website for a record shop, and this was way back in the early 90s, so like, you know, really early days. But it wasn't until a while after that I actually got a job as a proper web designer, and that was kind of maybe 12 months before the big internet bubble burst, you know, where all these companies went bankrupt and it was just crazy time. I mean, the company that I work for, we went from 5 people to 35 people within 6 months, and we bought a bar, and it was just like, it was insane. And then 6 months later, it was gone, completely
Oh wow!
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
But you know,
You didn't have an Instagram business, isn't it?
I say again.
It's a shame you didn't have an Instagram business. It's much more stable. You know?
Yeah, much more stable. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you know, the bubble burst, and web design kind of found its feet and was made itself a stable industry to be in, and it's been great. And I've worked with, you know, tiny little local companies and global tech companies for the last kind of 10-15 years.
Oh, wicked! All right, well, that sounds like a fantastic time of it, a fantastic trip. So let us start at the very beginning. As someone who's been doing this for a long time and has a rich history in doing it, why do we need to do this? What's the point? Why should we have why is it good to have our own website?
I think at the moment, because of what's happening, it's, you know, it's probably a good idea to have something that's yours, that you've got control over. You know, you know it's not going to disappear overnight. You know it's going to be future proof. It can be a bit of a playground. You know, you can have a bit of fun with it and try things out. And, you know, if you've got a fan base, then you can sell directly to them. You can collect data. You know, there's all kinds of things you can do. Or you could, you know, if you're just starting out, you know, just have a little central location where you can send people off to Bandcamp or Spotify or YouTube, or, you know, all of the different socials.
It's also another place for SEO, right? Because you can have a blog or something like that where you can use a lot of optimized language and titles and things like that to drive traffic, which you can then subsequently lead to directly on your website for sales, or to Bandcamp, to, you know, Artcore if you're not using Bandcamp anymore, something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, the good thing with Google, if people are searching for your kind of artist name or band name in Google, then chances are you're the only person with that name, you know. And so if you've got a website and your name's all over it, then you're probably going to come up, you know, top of that page, probably even before Bandcamp and Spotify and all these other things, you know. So it's a good way, it's a good funnel for search traffic.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, a funnel for search traffic.
Funnel.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, is that about all you want to say for that? Do you want to get into the how to make it happen, or do you have anything else for why you would want to have a website?
I mean, I guess the only other thing is, if you're really serious about your music and getting out there and, you know, getting in front of the right people, then it looks professional, you know.
That's a good point.
If you've got this kind of central location that is all your brand, you know, it's your identity. You know, if you're doing gigs and events and selling merchandise, if it's all in one place, then, you know, it's going to look really, really professional.
That's a really good point, because you have to think too, like what we were talking about with how Bandcamp could be changing, or Spotify is changing, or the reach on Instagram went down. Not all of these things will be around forever. Probably none of them will be around forever. But if you own a domain and you can do maintenance to your site, or at least, you know, change things and stuff like that, it's yours basically forever, as long as there's internet and all that stuff, you know, things like that. So I think that's a really good point, because in an ever-changing landscape, like MySpace isn't a thing anymore. You know, this and that. Facebook has gone down and reach. Instagram was on the top, and then Twitter was up, and then now X is going down, and Threads is going, you know, like it's always changing. And when you start new on these things, you have to start fresh, try to build a fan base again, or build a community on there, interact with people again. So if you at least have a spot that's yours that you can direct people to on these other places when you're doing well on them and stuff, you can keep this kind of central hub that only changes if you want it to change. And that's a really good point.
And the more things get fragmented and are constantly changing. If you've got a website and you can collect email addresses from people, then if things do change, if one social media disappears and another one appears, when you're doing well on that, if you've got a database of your fans' email addresses, then you can just let them know really easily.
That's a really good point. Yeah, mailing lists is something we need to talk about in the future. That's something I've been trying to get started with and all that. And I think that beyond website, that's the other big important thing that we need to look at as independent artists in the future. And we can talk about that in a different episode. And I need to do some more research, make my mailing list, but that's a really good way to do it. Curtis, do you have anything you want to add in terms of the why, or shall we move to the how?
No, I don't think I can add.
Oh, Eon
anything more
Lake's
to
got
that,
his finger up, but
that man there with his hand up.
Curtis, are you good? You don't have anything you want to add?
Right, go with Eon Lake.
Okay, Eon Lake, then I just want to make you wait another second while I drone on Eon Lake. Nope, go ahead. I'm just kidding.
Nap time.
Before he forgets
Hey.
like what he's up to next week.
The two main benefits of this is it's easier just to share your website all the time with people, of any type. Doesn't matter. It's just your website. And if you think Linktree and services like that are a good idea, then how is not a website that serves as your Linktree and has all of your social media, shop, anything else, gigs, the whole lot all in one place. And while they're looking for whatever it was they came for, there's the whole page about you and what you do to sort of keep them busy. It's like having a bunch of links, but even better, and you can post all your videos and stuff too. And
Is
the
that
other
a pitch for websites now? It's like having a bunch of links, but even better.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right.
1.5. You can have links on it, and you can click on them, and they go blue when you've clicked.
But why? You are right. Why not? I mean, your Linktree is a bunch of links. Your website is you. It's far more interesting. And it's really easy on a website to be able to just have a little music player at the bottom, so people can play your tracks while they're looking at other stuff. And that, from an engagement point of view, that's way more engaging than just an endless list of blue links to click on.
Well, I like how you said that, FCC, because you said it's you. And I think that that's a really good point, is that it's you, but it's how you want to express you to the world. And, you can put whatever you want of your creative endeavors up at the forefront. Like I put my YouTube at the forefront because that's mainly what I focus on, and then sample packs, and then I have a mastering section, and then all that. Like I can have a commission work section. Like you can present yourself in the way you want to, rather than how a social media platform forces you to do it. Like you have this grid of pictures and you have 100 characters in your bio that you can put, think carefully and all that stuff. It's like, no, you can present it as you want to be. But I think that brings us perfectly to the how, FCC. So we can talk a little bit. We've talked about, you can express how you want to be, who you are, show what you are. But let's talk a little bit about the how, because I mean, when you first think of web design, you think coding, but that's not necessarily true. But there's a lot of things we need to consider. And I know the first one is probably the biggest that you have here. You have hosting. And I think that's huge, because that's like the biggest start part, right? So you don't mind starting there. We'll go from there, FCC.
I guess it can feel quite daunting thinking about a website, because there's a lot of technical stuff involved, but probably less these days than it used to be. Like 10 years ago, you'd need a specialist to get a website up and running, but now it really is so easy, to the point where I'm probably going to be out of a job soon. So, yeah. But hosting, man, there's a lot of hosting companies around, with so many different options. Pricing, there's everything from $5 a month to $100 a month. But for musicians, really all you need, if you're going to try and build your own website, is a basic $5 to $10 a month hosting. The only thing I would say and it's the biggest issue that I've come across. Most hosting companies offer the same thing for roughly the same price. The only thing that really makes them different is their support.
Ooh,
So if you're, you know, everybody needs support at some point, you know, and what you'll need, what you really want is a hosting company that is gonna give you support quickly.
That's a good point.
And it's actually it's kind of hard to find out, but look on Trustpilot and that kind of thing, see what other people are saying. I've moved hosting companies because of support issues. And I had one hosting company and I had a website go down. It was their fault. It took them so long to respond that in the time it took them to respond, I'd managed to move the website to a new host and get support from the new host to get the website up and running.
Oh man.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then
And
you
you
also
don't-
have, of course, for hosting, you can also do that with one of those web designers. Like if you don't know how to code or don't know any of that, there's things like Wix and Squarespace as well.
Yeah. I mean,
So if it's that daunting, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're, you know, if you want to just give it a try and you don't really know about it all, then go for Wix or Squarespace or one of those, because you can get it all in one hit. It might cost you a bit more, but you know it's going to be pain free-ish. You know, there's still a lot of mucking around in editors and that kind of thing to do. But you know, it's very easy just to sign up, do your domain name, pick your template, bang, you got a website.
We got a question from Lars before we move to the next topic. He says, what if you wanted to do your own hosting? Is that possible?
Ooh, own hosting. What, on your own machine at home?
He'd have to answer that. Yeah, I don't know. I can't speak for him there.
I mean, in all my years of experience, I would say don't do that. Don't go.
That's
near
a clear-cut answer. So
Yeah.
we'll just move right along to your next topic of buying a domain. So
yeah,
don't mind going from there.
Make sure you get a good domain. You know, you really want your artist name and then a good suffix. So, you know, if you can get a .com or a .co.uk, that kind of thing, perfect.
Eon Lake's thumbs up. Is that thing still under construction, Eon Lake? The Eon Lake
.com.
Yeah.
Well, we should have a chat afterwards then.
Yeah, there you go.
But there are,
I'm sorry to interrupt.
There are loads of other really interesting suffixes now, like .music, .design, .this, .that, but they are quite a lot more expensive.
I see .xyz a lot, like artists, music artists having that. I
It's
don't.
quite trendy right now, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, some of them do get trendy. There's no reason why they're any better or worse than a standard .com or .co.uk or but you know, just even if you're half considering your own website at some point in the future, go and grab your domain name.
That's a good idea.
Because these things can disappear really quickly. They might have gone. It totally depends on your name. Somebody else might have got it. You might need to adapt it. You know, lots of people go, you know, the official and then the band name and then all that kind of thing. So, you know, you might need to be a bit flexible, but grab it now.
I guess the sooner you do it, the better. And you can always get it from just a place that sells domains. And then if you need to use Wix or something, you can use that with the domain you've already bought. You don't have to buy it through one of those. I don't know. What do you call like Squarespace and Wix? Web design editor? Web
web editors.
Web editor. Yeah. So you don't have to buy the domain from the editor you choose to use. If you use one, you can buy it from something else and use it. So
yeah. I mean, you can, whatever springs to mind. I mean, GoDaddy, 123reg, all of these companies, just go there, grab your domain. They don't cost a lot. I mean, .coms you can get for like £10-12 a year. .co.uk's are like £5-6 a year. So yeah,
wow,
yeah, grab it.
It's a very
so we
low
talked-
barrier to entry.
Yeah, that's good. So we talked a little bit about website editors, but you've got for the next topic website editors versus just building it yourself with things like WordPress. You can elaborate more than that. I know WordPress. The other ones I don't, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean WordPress. I mean WordPress powers half the internet. Basically, it's massive. And actually, as an alternative to these kind of web editors, it's quite a good option these days. But you do have to dabble a little bit more with it. But there are, most hosting companies will literally have a button that will install WordPress for you, and then you can grab a WordPress theme. There are loads of free ones, but if you want to pay $50-$60, you can buy a specific theme. And I had a look around, and there are some really, really good kind of music artist band themes around that have their own editors built in. So you don't really need to know any coding. You just install the theme, and then you dive in, and you literally set it up with the demo content, and
That's
then just
huge.
change it in a very similar way to how Wix and Squarespace work.
Man, where were you like a year ago when I made my website? I wish I knew that.
Yeah.
Better to know now.
The only issue with, the big difference between WordPress and these kind of self-hosted systems like Wix and Squarespace is that Wix and Squarespace are looking after the security for you. So they've got the security in place. Whereas if you're sticking up a quick WordPress website, there's quite a bit you need to do to make sure that your WordPress website doesn't get hacked. And WordPress websites get hacked a lot. I mean, I've probably done hundreds of WordPress websites over the years, and it is the biggest problem is hacking.
It's interesting. It's it's difficult to keep it going. So just to reiterate, Wix, Squarespace, they take care of your security, so it can be, again, you're paying a bit more, but you've got peace of mind in that regard.
Yeah. yeah, absolutely. But
I think
the whole WordPress route means you're gonna have to dabble a little bit more. You're gonna need to do a bit more research. You're gonna have to secure things. But the benefit is if you set up a basic website with WordPress, and then you think, right, okay, I want to add a email collection system for a newsletter, then basically there's a plugin out there that you can add that will do that for you. And then if you go, okay, I need a shop, right? I want to sell stuff. Well, there's a free plugin that does that. If you say, right, I want a little audio player that sits at the bottom so people can play my tracks. Well, there's a free plugin that will do that for you. So you won't have to pay extra, which I think you have to do with Wix and Squarespace. Like if you want a store, if you want extra things, then there's a charge for it.
It is. You have to get one of their more business oriented ones or pro one or whatever. Yeah. The the base one that you pay for does not have store
Yeah.
capability.
So with
I
WordPress,
think-
the plugins are there, but you're gonna need to put the time and effort
And
in
figure
it.
out the security and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So just as a addition to that, I mean, I used Curtis.com is on Wix. And what I like about the Wix is that you're designing your desktop, but then you flick across the tab and you're also at the same time you're designing the mobile outlet as well. There's a lot a lot of websites look great when they're on desktop, and then you go to them on your phone and they're all squished in a weird angle and then your face is over there, that kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
But with Wix, it's all there and you can kind of collate it and make it all agreeable. Does WordPress do the same kind of thing?
Yeah, so we call it responsive web design. So where the actual design of the website responds to the width of the page, basically. So it's not a separate website for mobile and a separate website for desktop. It's the same website. It just responds differently depending on how much space it's got.
Okay.
So pretty much, I mean, nowadays every theme, every website is responsive. They have to be, because it's I can't remember the stats, but it's way over 50% of all website views are on mobile these days. So it's even, most websites are what they call mobile first. So you design for small screen and then kind of make it work as it gets bigger and bigger. And now we design for 27-inch monitors, and even in some cases 60-inch TV screens, depending on what kind of websites you're working on. And it's the same website, but it just adapts to the different screen sizes. But yeah, most themes will do that for you. I'm not sure why Wix makes you do it separately, but maybe what they're doing is making you look at your website at a different size and tweaking it.
That's what it does. So it shows a
Control of it,
desktop size, and you see it as it is, and then you can hit a little phone and it makes it look like you're holding your phone. And you can see what it does, and then you can't completely edit. Like, you can't add something new to the mobile only, at least from when I mess with it. You just can either like hide things or resize them to fit. And so instead of like with the responsive ones, it would just auto do that, but this is more like you can actually move it how you want it to actually be, instead of just like it just adapting in size. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so we're like, just to get a little bit technical, when we're coding websites, we use things called media queries. So what we do is we say, if the screen size is between this amount of pixels and this amount of pixels, then we know it's on a mobile phone. So then we have a whole bunch of code that styles things for that screen size. And then we have the next media query for the next size up, and then the next one and the next one. So depending on the size of the screen, we can basically move stuff around, hide stuff. We can change everything.
Yeah, so that must be what it's doing then. You're messing with the if-thens, the media query of this, whatever their size differentiation is. Then when it hits that, what you do in this phone setting is just doing that. That's interesting. But I think that brings us really nicely to what we need to consider when we're designing. So let's say we don't know coding, but we choose to go the Wix or Squarespace route, or we learn a little bit, or we get one of those templates and we're using WordPress. What are some things that are important to remember when you first start designing the website? How you want to present it, but also pages, things like that.
I think, sorry, I'm just looking at my notes.
Yeah, all good. Good to have notes.
We can make these available as a little kind of cheat sheet if people want them. So
yeah, we will put these up. We'll make a downloadable doc for the patrons, and if other people want them, let us know. But just head to patreon.com/audionautic. We'll have it there for download.
So I think keep it simple is the first thing. You know, if you've never dabbled in a website before, then don't, you know, don't go thinking, oh, I want this animated and this scrolling and parallax and all these other things. Just start off really, really, really simple. You know, if you're using a theme, then pick a simple layout from the theme. Lots of themes come with different layouts. So, you know, pick a simple one, not too much in there. Think about, you know, basically what do you want to do? What information do you want to get across? And it might just be kind of, this is who I am. This is my latest release. This is where you can find me on social media. You know, just keep it really, really basic, and get that looking good, working okay, and then get that up, and then just, you know, you can add to it. I mean, back in the day when I was a print designer, print was very final. You know, once it had gone to print, that was it. You know, if you got a full stop in the wrong place, you got a bollocking. And you know, a few 100,000 instruction manuals had gone out, and there was nothing you could do about it. But websites should be constantly evolving. You know, they should be changing. They should be adapting to what's happening and new things that are coming in. But start off simple, and have some fun. You know, what I would say is that there are no rules. You know, don't come at it thinking I need a logo and a navigation and then you know, this and then that and then that and that. Just, you know, it doesn't really matter what you do, but try and get your personality, your brand, your image, your style, you know, get all of that in there, because people will remember, you know, the website that was, you know, messy and grainy and they couldn't quite see what was going on, but the music was really cool, and you know, it had this weird kind of photo in the background, and you know, that's what you want. You want people to remember the, you know, your music and your website. So just don't worry about, you know, thinking that this needs to go there, that needs to go there, that needs to go there.
I think it's interesting.
Streamline it, right?
Yeah, like again, again, hammering home the notion of being playful with it. It's your space, and yeah, all right, you got to get some information across, but release that inner child. Be playful, and I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that notion. Like, it could be anything you want it to be, and there's no right and no wrong. That's really refreshing to hear.
But have a look around, because you know, you're the problem with the web these days is that, you know, everybody seems to use themes and templates, and lots of websites you go to will all look very similar and samey, and especially in the corporate world, you know, it's very everyone's scared to be different and try new things, and so you just get this kind of very repetitive, like every website looks the same. So if you can do something different, you know, it's better for you, and it's more interesting for the people that are coming to the website. But you know, look around, because there are some really good websites out there that you come across, you know.
Well, speaking of, you brought a couple of websites to the table. Shall we
Yeah,
share some of
yeah.
them and take a look, and
Yeah.
you can give some of why you chose these ones?
Yeah. So let's go for the first one.
Curtis, do you have this one up? Is this the one that he wants?
Yeah, the Smile the band, right?
Yeah, the Smile. Yeah.
Here we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll scroll through. You tell us why you like this landing page.
So it's just really simple. You know, you come, the navigation is really simple. It's like, what you're there for? Well, I either want to buy some music, I want to see where they're playing live, or want to buy some merchandise. But there's also, you know, there's loads of videos on there. It's just really easy. You know, it's nothing amazing. I mean, I know, you know, the smile is the guys from Radiohead. And if you want to see really interesting websites, then, you know, go and look at, you know, some of the Radiohead stuff that they've done. Because they're, you know, some of those websites are just way off the scale. You know, you don't even know how to navigate around them. You know, they're all over the shop, but they're really interesting. You know, they keep you engaged. But this is just, you know, this is a really simple, easy, basic website that kind of works.
Yeah. I see. I actually really like how simple it is. Just music live store.
Yeah.
That's cool. Like if it's Radiohead, people from Radiohead, I can understand that they don't need to have a lot because people are going to go there. They kind of have like the built-in people, like the drive to get there. But I like how just like clear cut it is. And I feel like when I think about my own website, there's so many more things, and I'm like, I'd like to simplify it, but it's like I have too many things I'm trying, you know, like the mastering, the this, the that. So it's like you have to walk that fine line, I suppose. But I really like the simplified nature of this website, and they have the mailing list on the bottom. Look at that.
Yeah. And the good thing about that is, you know, the important bits, they're always there. You know, so the navigation and the stuff at the bottom, you know, it's easily accessible, and you know where you are to navigate around, and it's easy to sign up.
Yeah. All right. What do we have next?
Right.
What website is next?
So the Carl Cox one. So this, interestingly, when I dived into the code, this is they're using a WordPress theme called Salient, which you can buy for like $50-$60, and that will give you everything that Carl Cox is using here. But I think, again, it's really simple, but what's effective is that quote and that image of him on that page. But again, it's the simplicity that works. I mean, I know, you know, again, Carl Cox is quite a big name, so, you know, maybe they don't have to work as hard as independent musicians, but actually he's doing the same thing that independent musicians should be doing. And, you know, that's getting across his persona, his brand, his style, and actually just linking through to music, live events, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, see, this looks more like how I have my website set up with like all the different pages and things like that. So
yeah,
it makes me feel better seeing this one. I saw the other one, it was like, oh, it's so simple, it looks so good. But this, it's still readable and legible and like simple in its design, but there's more there, right? So that's a nice kind of middle ground of like not complete opulence of all these different options and overload, but it's kind of like clear cut. But hey, there's a lot of different aspects of me. Here they are, but it's clearly laid out simply, you know, so you can navigate it.
Yeah. So don't be, you know, simple and complicated aren't necessarily different things. You can have a complicated website, but present it in a simple way.
I like that.
So I think the key is to take a lot of different sections and a lot of different information, but make them simple and easily digestible.
If I may just add just something that's occurred to me just while I'm clicking through this website, in the name of ease of access and making things simple. Obviously, Carl Cox has got many hats. Sorry, that was Tina. Carl Cox has got many hats, right? So you've got his events over here, right? You click on events and it goes to his list of events, right? And you go back, and then but then we've got, for example, his motorsport stuff, right? Which is it's his another hat that he wears. Here, you click on it, and you can't see it right now. But if I go to, it's actually opened up a different tab,
Ah,
and it's now
Ooh,
here. So it's on
yeah.
a different tab, which is a really interesting thing for navigation of his website, because I can go and have a look at this, right? And I can be done with that, and I can get bored of that and move across, whatever. I can close that. And then the next thing I do, I'm back on his discography and I'm at another avenue of exploration. I'm still on his website. You know what I mean? I haven't drifted. I haven't gone to another space. Like even when I close that window, I'm back on his website. I can continue down another path, which ultimately, if you're talking about website, you want to keep people on your website. I'm coming from a space of ignorance here, but to me, that suggests that that's a good thing to do in that sense of like I say, keeping people interested and keeping people on your website. Or
isn't
am
there
I
a
talking
term
out of
for
my
that?
ass?
FCC? No, isn't there a term? Because when I do the blog, when I put links, there's a term that like a setting you can click where it will either open in a new tab or stay on this, like the tab you're currently in. I can't remember the word, but there's like this setting that you can do, and I can't remember it, but maybe you can help me out there. But yeah.
Yeah, you can have a link open in a new window.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, what Carl Cox has done there from a usability point of view is really bad. So,
Oh, okay, all right.
what you probably don't want to do from your main navigation is pop somebody out to a different website, because actually it's quite a jarring transition. You know, you're expecting to get another page that looks the same, because you're in that website. You know, your brain has boxed you in to clicking on links, getting the same thing, and then you click on that link, and then suddenly, bam, you're in somewhere different. You're in a new window. You know, you don't know whether it might not have opened in a new window, or it might open in a new window and not get focus. A lot of that depends on privacy settings and all kinds of stuff.
That's a good point.
So yeah, actually, that's a bad thing.
You're saying that's a no-no, huh?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Well, let's take a look at the third website and see if it meets your rigid rules. No, I'm just kidding.
I
But let's
didn't
take a
think
look.
I was going to critique major stars' websites this much, but let's
No,
go
but
with it.
that's good to know. I mean, I can understand
Have it.
the point of doing it, but I get what you're saying is that it's kind of like going against the expectation that you're just going to be navigating to this, to this, to this. So yeah, I see, I get both, but that's good to know. So if we're designing our websites, that's something to consider. All right, here's the third one.
Yeah, so this is quite interesting again, because when I delved into the code, this is actually a Squarespace website. So, and I think I had a quick look through the Squarespace theme library, and this definitely looked like quite similar to one of the ones that they've got in there. So, this is a very easy, pick a Squarespace theme, change the background image at the top, put your logo in there, and then, probably underneath you can add that widget and add that widget and add that widget. But it was just it's basically an example of what Wix and Squarespace can do quite well. And, it's quite easy to just grab yourself a Wix and a Squarespace website and get something like that up and running fairly quickly, where you're going to be on a similar level to lots of these other kind of fairly major artists that are using the same thing, really.
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of it. You can just like what you're saying with this is you can just grab a template, switch out the photos if you just need to get a website up quick. And then you can always change and learn how to do these things later, but you can have this start point that looks good, works well, and is reliable.
Yeah. Sorry,
ahead,
just
Curtis, what were you going to say?
Oh no, I was just going to ask. Okay, so this is the opposite of this Carl Cox one. So in the sense that it's basically one page, and the links at the top stay, and they take you to different aspects on the page.
Yeah.
As a workflow, what do you make of that, FCC?
Yeah, I mean, one-page websites are quite common these days, but a lot of it depends on how much content you've got. So, like Cole Cox's got a lot of content, so you know when he goes to his live dates, you know he's probably got the next 2 years of live dates up there. So it's a big page. You know, if you're only a small artist, you know, you might just want a little section for live stuff, a little section for your latest YouTube video. So a one-page website where it just clicks down, probably would work quite well.
Okay. All right, so I think we're coming to a close there, but I know the last thing to really consider when you're designing a website is going to be SEO basics, right? And you've got a good list here. So do you mind running through them just so we can consider? I mean, I think first we should kind of quickly define SEO just in terms of search engine optimization, right? So it's you can continue it, but to my knowledge and from all my study in terms of YouTube and social media and stuff, it's using keywords, tags, titles, all these kinds of things, even metadata and alt text that Google and search engines will crawl through and see, oh, okay, they're using the term SP404 a lot. We can recommend it when someone searches SP404.
Yeah. So basically that's it. Organic searches, as we're getting to a point now where lots of searches are not organic. So you get a lot of sponsored ads. Google are now going to start putting AI generated results in, and so the organic results are going to start becoming lower and lower down on the Google page. But to get in those organic search results, it's all about keywords, key phrases, content. The basic theory, if you could distill it down to its most basic level, it's that Google likes really, really, really good content. And that content, you know, if it's keyword rich and key phrase rich, then that's a bonus. If it's regular new content, that's even more of a bonus. So if you've got a blog or a news section and you're adding a couple of articles a week, you know, Google's going to love that because it's fresh. You know, if you can relate that content to relevant things that are happening in the news, even better, because it's trending, it's relevant, and Google's going to pick up on all of these things. Things like if you're using WordPress, when you add a new post to your blog, WordPress will automatically ping all of the systems that need to know that you've written a new article. But there are also like SEO plugins and that kind of thing that will do it for you, but on steroids, and they'll help you with your keywords and your titles. And I mean, SEO, it's so massive. Like back in the day, we used to do SEO as web designers, but then SEO became a thing all of its own. And and you get specialist SEO companies now, and it's so huge. But you know, the thing, just I guess it's like designing. Just start small. You know, do what you need to do. I think if you're starting a new website, there's a couple of tricks to let Google know that you've released the new website, so Google knows it's there, and then Google will come and look at what pages you've got. Pardon me. And then every now and again, Google will come back and index your pages, and you know, and once Google knows you're there, it'll keep coming back and checking periodically. And so, you know, keep updating, keep adding stuff, writing about things that you're interested in, is a great way to get up in the search engines. And
Yeah,
just,
that's one thing I wanted to add too for SEO is like when it comes to it for a website or anything, you need to consider kind of words you can use that are searchable. You can search what's trending on Google and you can search what's trending on YouTube, so you can get an idea if
Yeah.
there's things in your kind of sphere of relevance that you could use. Like for me with DALL-E stuff, I can use Digitact, I can use SP404. DALL-E is its own search term. You can even use something we've been doing at vidIQ where you can search keywords on YouTube, which can kind of be similar to search for Google since they're different search engines, but they're owned by the same company. But I think it's important to kind of, if you want to take SEO seriously, figure out what you can use, because like not everybody is going to be a YouTuber, right, or making a blog. But if you make a certain genre of music or you use certain gear, you can still kind of do that, right? FCC can talk about, like for you, you do reel to reel and stuff, and Boards of Canada-esque, you know, not like influenced by Boards of Canada, the analog synths, like those are all searchable terms you could use. If you have reviews from blogs that are saying, you know, inspired by such and such, such and such, such and such artist, you can use that and kind of have that. And like SEO is crazy. I did a live stream that I talked about with the DALL-E setup that last week that I had talked about on here, that I went through all these technical difficulties and stuff. That video shot up over the week, all from external search. It was all Google from the terms my new DALL-E workflow, Digitact, and SP404. And it got like, it's at over, I think, 1,100 views. And it got like, I think 500 of them off of external search. And I have SP404 tutorials on like using a power bank, because people are searching using a power bank with SP404. And that's literally part of what my title was. And so Google's like, hey, here you go, you know? So I think know kind of what words we can do a bigger deep dive on ways you can search keywords in another point. But I think what FCC brought to the table with SEO is really important. And I just wanted to elaborate from my own experience. And FCC, if you have anything more you want to add, please feel free, because I think SEO is huge, especially given you know, the algorithms of social media and stuff, like to get people to view your website, because it's hard. It's an independent website. So that's like the key way to do it.
But it's a good point that you've made. And actually in the same way that people are very used to using hashtags in social media, you know, they're basically the same as keywords in your website. So, you know, if you're posting on TikTok and your hashtags are like reel to reel, tape loop, and all of that kind of stuff, then put the same keywords into your website. But actually to get a bit of feedback on those keywords, Google Analytics is really easy to add into your website. It's quite complicated these days. They keep changing it and adding all this stuff and adapting it, and actually it just gets more and more complicated. But on a basic level, it will tell you what people are searching for when they end up on your website. So all of the people that come to your website, it will tell you what page they've come to, what keywords they searched for. So it will give you a good idea of which bits are performing well, which keywords are working, and you can kind of adapt from there. And on a really basic level, if you just go into Google and do a search for, you know, my doorless setup, if you look down the page, it will say, you know, people also searched for, and those kind of 5 or 6 suggestions that Google gives you are really, really good options for other keywords and phrases to put into your website.
Yeah, I'm gonna put in that's all really good information. I'm gonna put in the chat the Google website you can use to search trending words. This is Google, not YouTube. I would also check YouTube. You can use vidIQ, but if you have a YouTube account, you can go to the research tab and you can search words. And as you make videos and things like that, it will show you relevant words and things. But vidIQ will also do that. But the one that Google does is trends.google.com. And I'm putting that right here. You can search what's trending and it'll pop up with a map showing like all the different searches and where it's being searched and things like that. I think that's huge. Curtis, or well, we'll start with Curtis. Do you have anything to add? We're at 12:32, so we're at an hour 25. So I know we've got a couple other things we want to run through. But Chad, if you have any questions, let us know. But Curtis, do you have anything you want to add?
Just in my experience of these things, the setup and the establishment can be cumbersome, and it can be dull, and it can be, unless you really love this stuff, it can be a bit bothersome, especially the SEO stuff. It can be a bit it's not the creative fun of turning a MIDI controller into something go woo. It's not the same thing, let's face it. But once it's done, it's done. Right?
That's my job you're talking about there, you know.
Yeah, it's subjective. I find all those search things and stuff kind of interesting to me. It's like a game, like I
get, I get that, and I'm coming from a space of someone who's learned how to do this and has applied it to his own website, and in a similar vein to you, Sunwarper, it's a game, and you kind of do it. Like we get a kick out of it, and we do it, right? But getting into that mindset, sometimes some people would have this idea of, I can't really be bothered, and it's just, I just want to make music, right? Or you throw money at the situation, get it done, right? But it's a hurdle that once one gets over, it's done, it's done. Obviously, you have to update. If you've got a blog or anything like that, you have to keep it updated with the SEOs and stuff like that, what's trending and stuff like that, which can be fun. But the nuts and bolts of it, this is my website, this is my music, this is my art, this is my YouTube, whatever. Once it's up, it's up. And once you've done all that keywording, and once you've done all that writing, it's there, and you just have to tinker with it. It's one of those, in my experience at least, that once it's there, you've done it, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. Obviously, keep your website updated, but you don't have to stress too much about it. It's like a social media feed where you have to be on it every day, otherwise you're going to get not get anywhere. You know what I'm saying?
comment on 20 posts every day. Yeah, no, you're right. Ian, do you have anything you want to add?
No, just I think it's very useful, especially for people who are perhaps, not as technical, or at least not as into doing these things as Curtis was saying. Really, everybody is there to tell you all the different things you can buy and all the things it can do, and it can seem like a lot, but essentially, if you keep it simple, there's not a huge amount that you need, and having a checklist like this that guides you how to think about it, what to consider, and what your choices are, it's actually not that bad. I'm quite fired up for finishing mine now.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah, do it.
I was gonna ask you on after this great talk from Paul from FCC, I'm curious, is there any takeaways you've got that you are going to apply as you build your website? Because I know it's a work in progress, you're finishing it, so I'm curious, what are your takeaways that you want to definitely include in your website?
I think firstly, I'm not going to try and boil the sea. First, it only needs to have a certain amount of things in it, and I know what they are, and I know what I want them to be. So I kind of know what I want to do. I think probably the thing that will slow me down most is making it look the way I want it to look. I think the content is a bit of an easy answer, to be fair.
I know a guy that can help you make it look pretty good. He's right below me in this call.
Yeah, it's changed a lot since you had to write all this rubbish in HTML with a bunch of directories and then upload it to a server.
Yeah.
Web 1 style. That sucked. So I just remembered halfway through that I did have a website years and years and years ago, and it was an awful static thing. And, yeah, it was so bad I even forgot I'd had it.
Oh wow! We've all been there.
Well, time to make the new one that's better and brighter. Paul,
yeah,
FCC, we really appreciate you coming on to talk about this. First of all, patrons, we will be putting, and everyone listening, we will be putting, he made a really good, succinct docket of things for all that he talked about, all of his talking points. He printed it out. Look at that. He's prepped. I appreciate that. But we'll put it up in the Patreon. We'll make a Google Doc, and we'll have it for the patrons. So if you want to check it out, patreon.com/audionautic. And FCC, first of all, where can people find you on the internet? And then secondly, what have you got in the works?
Where can people find me?
Website.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping you'll say is website.
Yeah, no, I haven't got a website.
What's a website?
Yeah, I've got a frequencycontrol.center website. And then I've got my business one, which is a casey-webdesign.co.uk.
Perfect.
And
And then
a
you're
whole,
working
a
on
whole
some
bunch of other ones as well, but we won't go there. But working on I'm actually working on a track with Curtis at the moment.
Ooh.
We're coming out of that kind of probably revisit it over the weekend, I think.
Yeah.
Live streamed it with a couple of weeks ago and it crashed.
It crashed, I know.
But it's fine. It's been really fun so far, isn't it?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it actually. Yeah, it's been good fun.
Trying something different.
And you got quite some cool tunes in the works, right? Because I know you sent us what is shaping up to be a very awesome EP.
Yeah. Have you started mastering?
Yes, I have. Just started because I got this new chain that I'm working with where I added a couple new things, so I'm making some tweaks and yeah, it's been fun. But that'll be out in March as part of Audionautic Records. FCC has an album already out on there, and I will put a link. It's in the description, but I'll put a link. Analogs of Traces, awesome album. If you dig the Ports of Canada type of pastoral IDM, highly worth checking out. But yeah, we are booking up our 2024 releases for Audionautic Records. So Curtis, I know you have some more you want to say there.
Yeah, very much so. I'll just share this. It's so official that we made a little thing, a little video. We will be going live publicly across all socials in the next couple of days, but if you're listening to this live, then you're actually getting in early, which is really cool. We have booked up some of 2024, but we do have some spaces for the latter half of 2024. If you have a demo, an EP, an LP, whatever it is, if you have got some form of creative expression and you wish to release it through our label, hit us up, audionauticsounds@gmail.com. You can begin to approach us via things like Instagram or x.com, formerly Twitter, if you would like to. But then, yeah, we'll take your submissions through there. We tend to go through it a couple of days later, and Sunwarper and I bang our heads together and we get back to you. We like to frame it in the sense that we don't have any limits. We're an electronic label, but that is so broad, and we like to keep it that way. For good reason. We're not necessarily an IDM label. We're not necessarily an ambient label. We're not a down tempo. We're not in anything. We're a community here of like-minded individuals. And if you want to become part of this community, like I say, audionauticsounds@gmail.com.
Yeah, and then we appreciate everybody that sends a submission. We'll schedule a meet if we dig the sounds we're hearing. We got a lot going on. It's going to be good. But there's a lot more in the news, and so we'll have to cover it next week. But we just want to talk a little bit about what we've got to talk about. So Spotify has officially announced their changes to royalties for any artist with songs. Like, their new threshold is a song has to reach 1,000 streams, and after that, you'll begin getting paid. But if those 1,000 weren't in the first month of its release, whatever is before the 1,000 won't get paid to you. It's only what's after that 1,000. So they said in their writing, if you get 1,000 in the first month, you'll get that full amount that you're owed. But if, let's say, you get 700 in the first month and 300 in the next month, you'll only get that 300, or it's even after that. But that it's the whatever month that you hit the 1,000 that you start getting it. Quite crazy. There's a lot more to it as well that they're talking about. And we've gone through in a couple different episodes the rumored things, and a lot of that is there in what they wrote, but it's even a little more complex than that and what they're saying. There was another thing they talked about where they're going to have a new threshold of individual unique listeners that have to be met before they'll pay out. So let's say 20 people listen. if it's not in enough places, or if it's not what they won't say the number, but if it's not in enough unique places, they won't pay you, even if it's all legit streams and stuff like that. It's really strange things, but basically just anybody that has songs under 1,000, you're just not going to get paid for it. They're going to take your money that you're owed and give it to artists with bigger streams. That's their whole thing. So they're saying they're opening up extra money for artists that are emerging and professional. But yeah, it's a weird metric because, I mean, even artists with big streams on some songs, not every song gets these big streams, right? Like, you know, you might get lucky with one song, but the rest don't. And so you just won't get, let's say every song you have hits 999 in a year, but you have one that hits 10,000. You're only going to get the 10,000 one. And only after, of course, you hit that 1,000 metric or whatever. It's just bizarre. But in better news, Teenage Engineering announced the Pocket Operator KO2, which I have the original, the PO33. It looks awesome. We'll talk about that next week. And then finally, next week, we'll also take a deep dive into the Logic 10.8 update. Lots of crazy things, AI mastering, all this kind of stuff. So there's a lot going on. But this week, we really wanted to talk about everything to consider when you're making a website, because like we're talking with Spotify, with Bandcamp, with Instagram reach going down, things like that. It's good to have a home base. So we really appreciate FCC coming on and giving us his professional take. Let us know, chat, if there's anything you learned about designing a website. Do you have a website? Are you thinking about making one? We're curious to hear.
Yeah. So anything else you'd want to know? Did we miss anything?
Yeah.
Thank you again, FCC, for giving us your time and energy. It's a very comprehensive lowdown, and yeah, lots of valuable information. So once again, thank you ever so much.
Yeah, no, it's a huge subject. So I mean, we've really only tackled a small bit, but you know, if people have got questions, you know, put them in the Discord, and I'll be in there later.
I feel like that's what you did. You just did our Discord pitch for us. Beautiful. Thanks. So we, as another show draws to a close, we have a whole week until we'll all be sitting back here again in some form or another. FCC, what have you got in store for the studio this week?
Well, I bought an old 4-track cassette player.
Ooh,
nice. That was completely knackered, but I've managed to get 3 tracks out of the 4 working again.
Nice.
But it's got a fantastic knackered hissy warble, natural,
nice.
Yeah. You know. So I'm gonna be playing around with that, I think, this week.
That'd be awesome. That's gonna be warbly for sure. That's gonna be amazing. That'd be great. Eon Lake, what about you, bro?
I bought an old cassette deck recently. I had these plans of making tape loops with it, but I haven't got around to it yet. This week, I'm going to be showing my Cobalt 8 some love, because I realized I was way behind with firmware, and so I've updated it to version 2.1, and it's got 27 new filter types on it.
Wow.
Oscillators and stuff. So there's a ton of stuff to mess around with there. I've got an extra 100 factory presets as well to have a little mooch through. And on the play tray side, I finally figured out how to use my Zoom multi-effect stomp pedal. So I'm having some fun running the micro freaks through there and various other bits and pieces, trying to do some sound design. So yeah, more of that stuff, I think. What about you, Curtis?
It's a good question. I will be. I think I'm going to head along to the sound design myself. Again, Black Friday with glitch machines, and I have managed to fully map Vital to both the monologue and the launch control. So now I can control Vital, a beautiful wavetable synth, without actually looking at it, which is even better. So yeah, sound design. I think weird sounds. I've been trying to get as weird as I can get.
That's saying something, because you're usually getting pretty weird.
African Death Whistle, was it?
Yeah, Amazon, right? Amazon
Amazon
Death
Death
Whistle.
Whistle.
Yeah.
I just mean them finally stop churning out that middle of the road stuff. And all
That middle of the
music.
road weird. We want full weird.
So yeah, no, again, thanks to Lars for that. I'll be live streaming after the show. Gonna make a song using
It's a
the
bit weird.
VST that is an Aztec death whistle. I don't know what's gonna happen, but Lars sent it to me in the Discord. It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be fringy. So yeah, we'll see. There's lots of fringes. It's time. It's time to hermitize and get weird, really weird. So yeah,
Let's
that's
get
me.
weird.
What about you, Sunwarper? What's the week got in store for you, bro?
Surviving, dealing with the baby still, but we're getting there. We're getting there. I mean, I think we'll always just be getting there, but we're getting there. But
Yeah,
in
that's
the
being a parent, that is.
yeah, just just getting there.
Breaking
There is
by.
no there, but we're going for it anyways. But on the music
15
front,
years later, I'm saying the same thing every day.
yeah, I say that because before we went live in the green room, I was talking with FCC about it, and I was like, "Oh boy, yeah, we're gonna be perpetually getting there, never there, but getting there." But in the music front, I've been trying something new with the Dallas desk. I've been trying to just try this new workflow where I sample one thing into the Digitact and then just tweak and mangle it using one of its machines, like the Warp machine, to kind of like sync it to a time, but do some weird pitch shifting and time shifts and things like that. But then I build the song from there, and then whatever I build on the circuit or something like that, I'm basically just sampling everything and building it into just the Digi and the SP, because my plan is to make like a live set with just those, and then be able to do improvs with the Digi with the circuit, where I can just like record and kind of like live loop. And then I'm thinking at some point in the next year to turn that into kind of an album. But it's a really fun workflow where it's like there's just one piece that's the main basis. Like I'm just riffing, and the samples are me playing. So it's like just riffing on the mini log and then sequencing that and slicing it and doing all that on the Digitact. It's really fun. Like it's just a really bizarre workflow to just do, where it's like, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's so freeing. Like I don't have to look at plugins. I don't have to worry about all these different effects. Like everything's just right here, and I'm just building it off of samples. So like I have the fun of playing the part, but then I have the control of everything using it as a sample. It's just
the illusion of
interesting.
control as well. Yeah,
What's that?
That'd be great. The illusion of control, which is even better. In
Yeah,
that regard.
yeah.
Your eyes light up as it comes in. It's going to be amazing.
No,
brother.
it's really fun because it's just like, I don't know. I like to change up workflows, and just with the lack of sleep I was having, and just, you know, like all the chaos and things like that, I was just feeling a lot of writer's block, and just feeling like I was hitting a limit every time I would sit on anything. I was like, it doesn't make sense, and like I just can't get anything to sound good. But it's so funny, like something that may not sound amazing that I'm playing, like I'm like, I'm not sure about this chord progression. I sample it, and then I like repitch it, tweak it, chop it up, resequence it and all that, and it's like, oh, okay, and then I'm off to the races and doing stuff. So
Cool.
yeah, it's cool.
It's gonna be fun. That's gonna be an exciting week. So thank you ever so much. Let us know what you guys are up to in the studio this week and what's going down. Thank you ever so much for joining us. It's been a wonderful week. Again, Paul, FCC, thank you ever so much for your time, effort, and energy. It's been amazing. We'll be back next week. There's so much news, we don't have time to talk about it all in one episode. It's a good place
but
to
we
be.
can continue talking about it all over in the Discord. So if you want to talk more about the craziness of Spotify, or how awesome the new POKO2 looks, that's a word, that's a mouthful right there. POKO2, yeah. Yeah. I like the look of it and everything, but yeah, POKO2. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, anyways, we appreciate you hanging out. We will be back live next week, Wednesday at 11 Pacific, 7 p.m. UTC. I'm going to just guess and go with it that I got that right. I have no idea. Curtis, give me a thumbs up if I'm right. But anyways, we will see you then. Thanks for watching.